Hey there, this is Jonathan, and in the following set of tutorials we're going to take a look at a little bit more advanced workflow using Adobe Muse to create websites. Now we're going to create basically a very simple website dedicated to one of my favorite cameras right now, that's the Panasonic GH4. So I found some resources online. Of course, there's Panasonic's website itself that has all the features and specifications and all that kind of stuff about the GH4. And I found some other websites that we'll be using, like this great website, some great photos on here that we'll be stealing from. And there's even some videos about it, and then there's some information on lenses. So I kind of scoured the internet to kind of find some files, and I've downloaded a folder, and I call it Originals right now. And I've downloaded a folder of different things, like here is a great color palette that I like. Found some images of different lenses. Here's a really nice one. There's some issues with this one with transparency, but I'm not going to worry about that. Here's a great one that compares the 35 to 100 versus other lenses of the same type. And then here's a great screen as well. Nice little background. Here's a nice lead image. So a lot of great images that I can use. Now what we're going to do are use these in Photoshop to set up the graphics for Adobe Muse. So hopefully you know just a little bit about what Adobe Muse is, but what we want to do is we want to go ahead and set up our graphics before we start doing anything. So what I always do is I import the graphics that I know I'm going to be using. So we'll go to the originals here, and I know I like that, where's that Lumix GH4 image. So I'm going to drag that into my Photoshop document and make sure that it scales all the way to 100%. And by the way, this particular image size is, or canvas size, is 960 by 1020. The height doesn't really matter much. What really matters is the width. Now I'm also using the 960 grid system. If I wanted to go ahead and show the extras, you'll see that I have all the guides on there, but I'm going to just hide that for now, just so I know I'm just getting that. Now the reason that I am putting this in here is so that when I prepare my assets, they come in at exactly the size that I want. I don't want this stuff to be bigger. So I'm going to go ahead and put that in my main images folder and turn that on. You'll see that I have some other main images in here. And there's the let's see, this last one, we'll put that here, and we'll make that one go up to the top so it fits where the other ones are. So it should be snapping basically to the top. You can see I've got some other images here. Now, if I wanted to make all of these exactly the same size, then what I could do is go ahead and add a some sort of mask that would be used on all of them. One quick way to do this would be take one of the images that you know that you're going to use and build your mask off of that. So I'm going to go ahead and mask out all of the images for that folder using this particular icon, which I think works well. Now that being said, it might be that we have to put the mask on each individual item. I'm not exactly sure for what I want to do, which is output all of these images. So we're going to use Photoshop Generator in order to output these. So I know that this is going to be my home page, and I might even call it main homepage dot JPEG, and that's going to be the main homepage image. Now this is going to be, let's see, which image is that? That's kind of cool. And by the way, let's go ahead and move that up so that it's kind of cropped the way we want it to be cropped, which is great. And this one is going to be the specs. Let's see, that'll be the main specs.jpg. And this last one will be, here we go, reviews. main-reviews.jpg. Now that we've got those different pages, now what we should be able to do is go to generate image assets, and what will happen is if we've saved our Photoshop document, it should output these images into the correct folder. Now that being said, Yeah, it's not doing what I was hoping, which is cropping them to what I want. So unfortunately, what we have to do is select this crop and then actually put that crop on all the other images. That's kind of a pain, but that's kind of the way it works. Because each image has to be cropped if we want it to be able to use that. So just something to point out, kind of a workflow issue that I don't really love, but now you'll see all of these have been generated at the exact size and crop that I want them to have. So really nice feature about doing that. Um, just be aware as you're starting to move forward. Now, that going on the same idea as this, we might look at things like our heading images. And I'm going to go ahead and group those into a folder with Control G. And this, of course, should be my header. And what we're going to do is then that'll be our logo dot PNG. And by the way, that will be, I'm going to call that, I think, 100X, because I believe that logo is 100 pixels. I think that's what I did, but I'm not exactly sure. And then here is the top bar. So that'll be the top bar dot, and this can be just a PNG right now. And I think you might even be able to do PNG and just hit 8, and that will actually do an 8-bit PNG. We can test that by going actually back to our assets folder and just seeing. And yeah, it's been actually output. So there is that top bar already output. Now we can certainly replace that top bar with just a rectangle that we've created in Muse. I just want to make sure that I've output it so that I have that particular graphic. Now other graphics that we might want to be outputting in my content I've got here. Let's see, this is my lenses, and that's the exact size that I want. So if I want to say, oops, if I want to go ahead and all lenses dot PNG, you'll see that that will output all of those lenses. Now if I really just wanted them on white and I didn't want to worry about it, if I change this to a JPEG, now it will actually output that image on white instead of being on the gray. So that could be nice because I know it's just going to go on a white background anyway. I don't really want to worry about having the PNG there. So just something that to note, even though it's got the transparency in here, if I know I want to output it with the white, I can change that easily. So I'm going to go ahead and just close that for right now, and I'll close that. Any other graphics that you want to bring in, of course, you can do that. I'm going to go ahead and save that document because all I'm really doing is using this document to help me output my graphics. I'm not even going to worry about exactly the layout and everything else, although of course things like the header I really want to get close, but this is just a document for me to generate my assets, which is something I definitely suggest. Now another one that I want to point out is actually in here, which is the photos. Now I've got a lot of photos and I want to be able to use these as well, and I grabbed these from a bunch of different websites online. So here's the originals, and I've got my gallery photos, and so each of these photos is completely a different size, and some of them are 16 by 9, some of them are not. What I did is created a 16 by 9 comp, which is 960 by 540, and we could change this to 72. It doesn't really matter. Oops, let's change that to, I don't know why it does that, so let's change that back to pixels to turn that off. Oh, what a pain that is. It's the way it works sometimes. 960 by 540. So 960 by 540 at 72. Somehow it's fixed. Just sometimes a pain when you turn off that resample and it doesn't want to change your pixel dimensions. Anyway, I'll click OK because it is set what I want. And that is, it's set to 72 pixels, but it doesn't really matter, at least from Muse. But you'll notice that I've got, as my images are here, all I need to do is drag the other images that I want in. So I know I'm going to use this Cuba one, and it's coming in much larger than it's really needed, but I'm going to go ahead and just scale that up even though I can't see it because it's behind this particular picture right now. I'm not going to worry about being absolutely perfect.